Hello and welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm CJ.
And I'm Chip.
And we have a lot of information today. First off, whoever knew that posting on Facebook could be criminal harassment? Well, let me tell you something. One of our Facebook users received in the mail a citation to appear at the police station to address a hearing upon a criminal application that will be held on the above matter. The victim is corporate counsel Elizabeth Sousa. Let's get it right. And the charges are offense code 272 53D, accosting or annoying another person, and 265 43AA, harassment criminal. And this was about a picture that appeared on a group called Threw Up in Fall River, where the picture was not edited hatefully, but a comment was put onto the picture. And that qualifies as criminal harassment. The incident report for this is 14-3492-AR. I find it amazing that corporate counsel has to file for a civil matter, if they want to file for slander and libel, to make it a criminal matter. And we know that this is just, again, harassment at its best by the city, not by the person causing it. What do you think about that, Chip? Real quick.
Well, real quick. Well, I don't know if I can be quick on this subject because it gets down to the fundamental freedom of speech. While I may not agree with what was said about the picture or the picture, I feel that everybody has a right to speak in this society. That's what makes America America. And obviously, as a public figure, she is a corporate counsel, and she has to go before the council. I think she should have realized before she took the job, you have to get kind of a thick skin, because if we filed criminal complaints about everybody that calls us names, we'd have half the city in court, and we wouldn't have time to do the show. So, look, get a life, Liz. Stop trying to use your position and the mayor using his position to try to intimidate people with the fact that they're going to file complaints, make people get lawyers, and spend money to fight City Hall. This is what's wrong with the way this government is being run. I've renamed Fall River. This is now the land of Odd, and he is the Wizard of Odd.
Well, and you also went through that a few years ago where you were threatened with criminal harassment.
Yes, as a matter of fact, when Dan Robillard, Eric Poulin, and I were getting some petitions ready, and then when Dan Robillard and I began the recall petition, we were threatened with probably the same charge. They said they were going to charge us with criminal harassment for exercising our right under the statutes of Massachusetts to recall a public official. So, threats and intimidation are obviously something that's not out of bounds for this administration. And when that doesn't work, they just ignore us.
Yeah, that's shameful. We received from a citizen here in Fall River a letter that was sent out to every city councilor. Dear Councilor, I read the newspaper this morning only to learn once again our mayor is determined to become business unfriendly. We already know he is resident unfriendly based on the new fees for trash bags, the water fees, the increase in real estate property taxes, and that ridiculous water runoff fee of $35 a quarter, which, if I remember correctly, the mayor had once said was illegal. What is concerning to me is where our city councilors are on these issues. Many seniors collecting their monthly Social Security checks, which may average around $1,000 to $1,200 a month, may have difficulty paying the additional costs in addition to other expenses that seems to be going up faster than the 1.5% increase the Social Security recipients received last January. Needless to say, many residents are unhappy the way the city is going. It looks like it is the mayor's way or the highway. Where is the input from the councilors representing the people of Fall River? Quite frankly, we have too much government regulation. I think we need to take another look at our finances and spending. The newspaper article mentions hiring people to enforce trash enforcement for $200,000. Wouldn't we be better off that money to rehire a few firefighters instead? Public safety is very important. I look forward to hearing your responses and what steps you are taking on behalf of the people of Fall River. Sincerely, Ed Stefanik. And a couple of city councilors did reply to Mr. Stefanik, and they agree with him, and those being Councilors Rigo and Mioza.
Well, they all should have responded to him because he is speaking about the Fall River that we live in. I know that you've been beat up severely about the head and the shoulders on Facebook by a political hack, and was told basically that everything that we say collectively is total nonsense, and we're never right, and that you haven't really, we don't contribute anything to the society. Yet these are the kinds of people that create the city we're in. They just don't live here. I don't know where they live. This guy is a political hack. I know he was one of the people that was instrumental in putting together a $500 a plate time for Scott Brown. And these people can go to $500 a plate dinners to support people who support the 1%ers, Romney's 1%ers, and the hell with the 99. But both CJ and I both know retirees who are living on less than $900 a month. I know a woman who is collecting $849, and she's living on that, and she owns a home. And CJ met a woman, I believe it gets $839. So, wake up, people. Let's get together with this revolt, because the fact is we have an elitist group running the city that just doesn't seem to get the fact that there are people in this city who can't afford it. And we continue this rampage of fees, and now businesses with the fees that are going to go on dumpsters, which affects every one of us. We're going to have a guest very shortly who is a businessman, who is a citizen, who is a taxpayer, and that's the reason we want him on here, because he's basically every man.
Well,
he's a Fall River resident who has to bear the slings and arrows of the outrageous fortunes that the mayor decides to throw upon us.
I know, and maybe we should both go down to the police department and file this 272-53D, for accosting us and annoying us, and the 265-43AA for harassment criminal.
Actually, I enjoy it. I know if I aggravate them and I ruin their day, I'm enjoying myself.
Oh, I know.
So guess what? Keep going, because boy, if I can piss you off, I'm happy.
You know what's really great though? I finally found out some of the information on why they didn't put in place a program for seniors and low-income people. Oh, yes, I did. And it's the grant money they want to hire the trash Nazis. Oh, I mean the trash enforcement officers. I got to be careful with that term. And believe it or not, it's a 22-page book just on how to file for the grant governance. And the overview and the certification of minimum eligibility criteria mandatory, which I thought was amazing, because this is where a lot of this came from. You have to be certified. And some of the things that has to happen in the city is they must buy recycled products. They must buy paper to be used in City Hall, which is recycled. They must have available in every municipal building and area to have a trash bin and a recycle bin. Seems to me that I don't remember seeing a recycle bin anywhere in City Hall. But then again, they have 30 days to apply for that and to put that in place.
I think it's in the mayor's office. Everybody go dump your recyclables.
Better be careful. That might be considered, harassment. We got to be careful now. We never know what's going to happen. But if they had put in place a program to allow for low income and seniors, they would only qualify for $100,000.
Yeah, oh, that's wonderful, because, you know, for the extra $100,000 to put on a few more lackeys to be the trash, well, maybe we can call, you know, Nazis. You know, they're going to get us for Nazis, but I think Joe Stalin was a lot worse than the Nazis. He killed a lot more people than the Nazis did. But the fact is that we can call them Stalinists if you want. So the fact is that, you know, the hell with the old people. Who cares?
Right.
Who cares if they can't eat? Who cares if they don't have food? Let them go to the market, buy cat food. Who cares? No, we don't care. We're going to get in our SUV. We're going to drive to East Providence, and we're going to go to Waterfire, and we're going to have a good time. And, you know, that's the way we do business in Fall River.
And
you know,
waltzing
let
waters.
them eat cake.
Yep, and waltzing waters.
That's right.
But it's really
Waltzing
interesting to see when you start looking through what they get for this stuff. You know, for instance, the coordinator salary for this program, the DEP funds are requested as $45,000. The match funds are $10,000, giving a total $55,000 grant salary. Mileage expenses, you love this, don't you?
Love mileage expenses.
I know. Yeah. DEP funds request $1,000. They don't have to give any match, so the grant covers the $1,000. Enforcement and educational materials, $3,000. Matching of $2,500 for a total of enforcement and educational materials $5,500. Other expenses $1,000. Matching funds $2,500 for $3,500. And that's how they have to word and do their grant amounts.
Is there anything in there about feces helmets? And when they break the bags open?
Oh, yeah.
I want to make sure nobody gets feces on the head, you know?
Oh, yeah. But here's the best part about it. You want to know why the city wants us to recycle with the city?
It has nothing to do with money.
Yeah, it does, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What a surprise.
Surprising, isn't it? Do you know that the city gets, for a 64-gallon recycle bin and trash bin, $10 a bin?
Geez, no, it's not about money, CJ.
Yeah.
You know, you're just negative. That's all. You know,
I know, I am.
I don't know.
And the wheel carts must be a minimum, like I said, of 64 gallons, where they get $10, or 95 gallons, which is what we have, where they get $5.
Amazing, huh?
Yep.
It's all about money. Why don't we bring our guest on as a guy who's paying all this? Plus, he has a business that he has to pay now. For an extra $125 for a dumpster, because he happens to be in business that I sure needs dumpsters. And let's get a citizen, somebody who has to pay and work, and he doesn't get any benefits of like pay raises and gas mileage and stuff, and he can't file a criminal complaint for harassment. Oh, he can, but I'm sure the police
saying what I think you're saying? Are you asking for the amazing, the one, the only, the hot seat? The hot seat. Well, welcome. Josh, how are you? This is Josh Silva.
It's good to be here, CJ.
Not a problem.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Chip, good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
We got a big thing
It's our pleasure.
We got a big thing to show here, huh?
Yeah, I brought a little prop with me today because
Okay.
a lot of people think that I'm just someone that likes to speak and I don't really know what I'm talking about. So I figured I'd bring my college diploma, which is I study humanities and social sciences, and I focus on political science, economics, history, and literature. So just so people know a little bit about me, that's where I'd like to start. And the other thing I'd like to say is my family's been paying taxes in Fall River for over 60 years. We own property here. We have a vested interest in this city, unlike our mayor, who doesn't own a house in the Fall River, and he thinks he's doing his part by buying purple trash bags, even though he doesn't have to. So that's not really good fiscal management for him personally, which leads me down the line that I can see how our city's in such poor financial shape as well.
And as a taxpayer and as a businessman,
Okay.
Just give us, why you've become an activist. I mean, why, how has this impacted your life? I mean, you're one of the people who has to deal with it on both ends. You have to deal with it on a business end and on the personal level as a property owner. So, let's get the man on the street, the guy who's suffering all these, as we are, and tell our audience out there that, look, it's not just us. There are people like you out there. So tell us what your primary complaint is now.
That's right, Chip. Basically, in 2007, I purchased a home on Pine Street. It was a dilapidated property. I've sunk probably $100,000 into the house in renovations. And when I first bought my house, my taxes were $450 a quarter, and now we're up over $700 a quarter. And my water bill has been tripled. And now I'm paying a water meter fee for a tank up in the industrial park for some new business or something. And I gotta now supposedly have to buy trash bags, but I've opted out of that, and I'm gonna go with an ABC contract because I don't plan on being out in a blizzard this winter when the streets aren't plowed and crash into somebody trying to get shopping bags or trash bags. I'm gonna be at home watching the Patriots win. So the people that want to chase the bags around, let the government get into their life. Be my guest. They can do whatever they want. I'm not going to tell them what to do with their lives. And it's interesting because before I came here, I was actually in Schwartz Ace Hardware, and there was a little bit of a commotion in there about the trash bags, and there was some city workers claiming that it's cheaper and this and that, and that's fine. And I want them to know that I appreciate everything the city employees do, the teachers, the police. I think the police are outstanding. The firemen, I feel bad for them now because they're in more danger because there's less of them on these jobs. And even the DPW guys, I appreciate them, but they're fighting taxpayers like me thinking we're trying to take them down, or I'm looking out for them because when they're down in the government Senate council chambers on budget night and they're fighting for their jobs because the mayor can't balance a checkbook, I think, I'm looking out for them. I don't want to see them go through that because they have families and kids and everything too, and bills to pay. So I don't think it's right for them either.
Well, it's interesting because you've taken the lead on several issues as an activist, not only on the recall of the mayor, but also to make a point on these new regulations that the city wants to enforce. And let me just go over a couple of the items in there. And also, these new regulations take effect, are you ready for this? October 1st, 2014. Coincides, by the way, coincidentally, or coincidentally, which we don't believe in coincidences around here, at the same time the money shortfalls are going to be announced for the school department. So, these fees are outrageous, and they're covered under Chapter 111, Sections 31, 31A, 31B, and that's all the blah, 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 blah stuff. But I think the stuff that's interesting is it's going to be a $100 fee for this, a $25 fee for that, and it's going to increase the cost to business like yourself. Because I think right now for a dumpster, they're paying about $350. But with these new fees, you're going to be looking at an increase on that. So that's going to affect your business.
Oh, definitely. And my customers. The fee would be tacked on for any construction work being done. You'd have to get a dumpster, and this fee, they're going to have to add it to the cost of you getting a dumpster. And the other point I wanted to make was that people have had dumpsters on their property forever. Why hasn't the city gone after this money before? It's just, if it's the case and they're trying to keep, the health boards getting involved and it's a safety issue or whatever it may be, why weren't they doing that 25 years ago? All of a sudden, October 1st is coming, the school needs money, and this is how they're going to pay for it, by private industry and private property owners. I just totally disagree. It's no way to run the city.
Well, that brings up a very, very good question, because we know that people have had dumpsters for a very, very long time. Now, the fact is that the mayor has gone on record as saying that the reason they're doing this is to make privatizing your trash pickup cost prohibitive. Now, as a businessman, I mean, what do you think of the government trying to put people out of business? So basically they're saying, forget about the free enterprise system that we have in the United States. Forget about the fact that this is supposed to be a capitalist economy, and people have the right to try to get the best deal they can. And as a businessman, I mean, how do you think those trash haulers feel when they say, okay, we're getting a little bit of business because the city's charging too much? I think it's kind of crazy that Plymouth pays less for their bags, where people in Plymouth have a lot more money. But how does government decide, especially a government that has said we're business friendly and blah blah blah, and we're going to try to entice business? I mean, what do you think of that? From not only the fact that as a resident of Fall River you're going to have to pay more if you have to hire a contractor that has to get a dumpster, but as a businessman.
Well, as a businessman, it's just the representation of the city as a whole as not being business friendly, and that's why we have a lot of businesses moving to New Bedford instead of coming to Fall River, even though New Bedford's commercial tax rate on property is higher than Fall River. So you would think that if we had cheaper tax rate in Fall River, that businesses would want to come here, and that would be something to attract them, but apparently it's not, because we're not business friendly. And then the other problem I have is, since we're told that our taxes are so low and we don't pay enough and the business tax is too low, why do we give out TIFs? If we need money and our taxes are so low, why are we giving out the TIFs? And people tell me, oh, they hire all kinds of people. Well, that's fine if they're going to hire all kinds of people. But at the same time, don't tell me I'm not paying enough taxes and then give someone else a total tax break. And then when the TIF's up, they bounce out of town, and we're left with, the crumbs and scraps or whatever. So if someone could please explain that to me, that,
Well, we're going to get into the reality. The reality is the tax rate is not lower in Fall River. Our tax rate isn't really our tax rate, because pay-as-you-throw is a tax, water fees are a tax. We circumvent the taxes, and if you look at the cost of doing business and living in Fall River, it's too expensive. And then you also have to look at the ratio of the people you're dealing with. You can't have a Gucci bag factory, in a village in Guatemala, because not too many people can afford Gucci bags. The fact is that we have to realize that this city has a lot of people that don't have a lot of money. So, the dynamic of the whole situation is that this city is just being run down a rail toward, we're already in receivership as far as we're concerned. But I mean, you're the guy that, that's why I'm really glad to have you here, because you got it on both ends. You're getting it. You're like a Oriole. You're right there,
yeah,
right between the two, because you're a double stuff. You're getting double stuff.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
think they have mega stuff now too.
You got it on the business end, and you got it on the property end.
That's right.
But what also is very interesting is the fact that these health regulations are punitive in some respects, and they're going through the health department, so they can't bring it up through the city council. But I have to ask myself this: these are supposed to be for health, and we're going to attach a $100 fee for licensing and $25 fees for the dumpsters. But under Section 4, paragraph C, it says that at the time of application, or as otherwise specified, the licensee shall submit to the health department the following information. And when you start looking down these bullets, an application form, proof of workers' comp, a non-refundable application fee, attestation that the driver has a license, and then you get to this lovely little, let's look in the back door, a list of the residential and commercial and industrial customers serviced by the collection. What does my name as a private customer, your name as a private customer, or John Smith's restaurant as a customer, or anything else have to do with this?
Well, we know what this is. It's to create the hit list. Now, they didn't ask for a number. They didn't say, tell us how many people, which I could say, okay, how many people do you service in the city of Fall River? Okay, you say, I've got 150 customers. Why do you need the names and the addresses? Why do you need them? So they can charge them with criminal harassment. So they can create a hostile environment again. You know, that's the issue. There should be a bullet there for how much have you given to the mayor's campaign, and under that bullet it'll say all the preceding paperwork is null and void if you've given the maximum to the mayor.
Yeah, but I just find it interesting because they want to know who is not using pay-as-you-throw. And of course, that means that John Smith, Mary Smith, C.J. Ferry, we know, okay, so that's our hit list. And then we go on to the enforcement. And I'm looking here and I'm going, whoever violates any provision of this regulation may be penalized by indictment or a complaint in the district court, except as may otherwise be provided by law. Each violation or offense shall be a $1,000 fine. Each day thereof shall constitute a separate offense. Nice.
Well, this is the administration of threats, and being. I guess the only thing law school taught them to do is to use the law as a club, or rather than an instrument of justice. So we've got about a little over a minute left, but I want I want you to tell everybody, give us a quick 30-second or 35-second. Tell everybody how pissed you are, and tell everybody what you're doing about it.
Well, listen, everybody. It's not just me. It's not just Chip. It's not just CJ that are angry right now. It's a lot of people out in the city, and not everybody's on Facebook, and not everybody's listening to WSIR, and not everybody's reading the Herald News. You got to get out there and talk to people in the public, and a lot of people are kind of scared to do anything about it, but I'm not. And the people that are scared, they need to look at people like us that are putting ourselves out there and standing up for the taxpayers and the residents. You need to come with us to City Hall on Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, the Board of Health meeting, and we're going to show everybody how angry we really are. We need to come and force. Numbers are going to, that's what's going to be that's our power. We have the numbers. All they have is some paper and their law diplomas and whatever they have and their excuses and their stories and their minions and their fake profiles on Facebook. We're actually real people. Here we are. You know who I am. If you want to talk to me, you can ask me anything. I don't have anything against anyone personally. I've never met the mayor. I don't have anything against him personally. But I wish he would just start thinking about the residents and the people that are paying the bills. That's the taxpayers. And that way, if everything goes straight, then these city employees will be able to keep their jobs. And we can keep our services, and everything will be all right. So be there Tuesday night, everybody.
Well, thank you very much, Josh. And thank you for watching Spindle City Straight Talk.
Don't wish for change, be the change.
That's right. Nice.